almost every life in anybody who has a willing heart in Winneba. Anybody who has a willing heart, me person me ye BB, Afenyo has helped the person. Go to Winneba. Every young person, and Afenyo, like as I say, you there, kind of like we will sort that one out. Me my church or letters, me person me who me boundary, obi to me see me baby ego mo afford and we den. But no cry back up we are say. True. Afenyo is a great guy. Irrespective of once they say no party or no leader of the opposition, that's what they patapa for him. Irrespective of that, no. Say Obia constituency Bia MP, it is Afenyo. You may not like the way or in your man, but some may on your man, yeah, or who be yes. But to be honest, Afenyo has changed me. But drip machines here, the man for my park assembly scene. Ukwa really baby any panty, baby a new site. Afenyo the drip machines name. They are creating roads. Look, me I like hands-on people, and those people, no matter what you say about, I say Ubi say on Nacee Azuri Asem. You may not like how he did it too, but do we want to fight corruption or not? You understand? And so you know you may not like Nacee as a person, but I don't know Afenyo say Ubia you should drip machine you create send Afenyo you should and Ghana have road because you are a district assembly. You have an excavator, you have a roller, you have a tipper truck, you have a mixer, you have a bulldozer, you have what a BBA idea Kwan. You have everything. So why don't you have roads?
You don't have sense.
Every assembly has it. So why don't you have roads? Me Kwan me from Dahum they call German. Na me high in your machines. Bulldozer ya high near the Kojina bush in money their year bima. Nyamia do mabe MP. Now all these ones are sitting at the assembly. I have to write to them and say, look, I need these things to create another road from Gomua Manso to Gomua Chanse. I have to be able to do it.
Yeah, feeder ones.
So and the kind of job work that Afenyo has done in Winneba. Every election beyond one Kumu create 20,000 votes because the people know what he's doing.
It's working.
And you know, I know I disagree. It's also one area. If I sit here and say Afenyo here, he's somebody that apart from say Mensa has to be one who I imagine.
I was talking about NPP in general.
So no, NPP in general. There. No. I'm talking about the person. Afenyo Markin as a person. He has worked.
Well, what I meant because
honorable member of Parliament for Ifutu. And that's in the person of Alexander Kwamna Afenyo Markin, minority leader. And we're going to try and get into a lot of detail with him very quickly in 45 minutes somehow. But start off by saying welcome, sir, to the studio, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to be on this platform. It's humbling. My first time being here this year.
Okay.
Also as a leader of our mighty few.
You prefer mighty few? Is that what you?
Yeah, mighty happy few.
Okay.
That in itself inspires us to work hard to turn the corner and make the party great again. You know, there was a huge disappointment in 1996 after the general elections, and we had 61 seats, and led by the venerable J.H. Mensah. The party did not give up, demonstrated strength, proved to be formidable, and through that collective posture of that 97 group, we won in 2000. So for me, that is the challenge I see God using me to solve. That the whole thing is disappointing, but in that disappointment lies an opportunity. And I keep telling my colleagues that let's act collective, let's stay united, let's stay focused. My job as the leader of the caucus is to move with the team, inspire hope, lead the rebranding effort in Parliament and rebrand the party so that, God willing, come 2028, we win power. You know, it can be very disappointing to see your party lose an election. But I keep telling my friends in the party that, look, let's look at the NDC and their posture. In 2016, they lost. They were not expecting that magnitude of defeat. For the first time, a presidential candidate winning with 1 million plus votes. And for the first time, a party getting 169 seats. Very overwhelming. But in spite of all these, the NDC sat back, re-strategized. There were those who thought that, with that huge victory, NDC was never going to come back. And in fact, that was the same thinking in 2000 when Kufuor first won. I remember as a student leader then, there were all these talks of NDC, Egu, Rollins on Babio. But they sat back, re-strategized, regrouped, and came back strong.
Right.
To the extent that by 2008, they were able to snatch power from us. So I can understand the disappointment in our people, the blame game. But let's take a deep breath. There's one way to deal with depression or disappointment. Accept and detach.
Okay.
You accept the situation that this is where I am. It will help you not to be blaming people, attack, and all that, so that together we can move. So, back to your question, why the mighty few? These are the things that inform that, look, we are mighty, happy few, and that would be the springboard upon which we would jump the hurdle, cross it, and get in there come 2028.
Brilliant. Before we get into the issues, current issues that you are battling within Parliament, and also some of your concerns, you are yourself engaged in activities as a member of Parliament in your constituency, Ifutu, and one of those is the 150-bed capacity children's hospital. Tell me why. How's this going to be? How are you even going to get the funds for this kind of thing at this time?
Well, let's stay away from issue of funding, and let's deal with the project.
Right.
God willing, that project will be commissioned. You see, I am the youngest ever to seek for that office in Ifutu, Member of Parliament. And when I was campaigning, most of the elderly people said, he's too young, Osa. You remember in 2004, I'd won my primaries. I was a candidate, and just a day before filing, I think the filing was Tuesday and Wednesday. So the final decision on me was on Tuesday. Can you imagine? I had my tax clearance and everything, and then this meeting at the castle, and the elders of Winneba said, no, yes, you want to be an MP, but you are too young. We won't allow you. Right. It was a low moment for me. So fast forward, becoming an assemblyman and presiding member, and eventually getting the nod in 2010. I remember again that in 2008, I lost the primaries by a single vote. So that was double disappointment. 2004, you are the candidate, you had to give way. Then 2008, the same forces in Ifutu still felt that I wasn't mature enough. So they mobilized. And that was the delegate system where only chairman votes. So I lost by a single vote, 23-22. So when eventually I had the opportunity in 2010, I told myself that, look, I need to make a difference. Entrepreneur, barrister law, 10 politician. I needed to do something new. And that was the inspiration. Of course, added to it was the fact that I'm a self-made man. Okay, I'm not somebody from a privileged home. In my teens, I was on the street of Accra. I had to struggle for myself and land a job at Ghana Post as a post boy, struggle through it to the university and all that. So I know a bit of street life and how to survive. If somebody tells me that I will believe it, because I've lived that life before, where you bought kinky,
you have the money to buy.
You don't. Then you are asking for the shito, the black one. You know, Adla.
Yeah.
If you don't buy fish, and then you ask for the black shito, it was a huge thing. They won't mind you.
Big deal.
They will give you the red one.
The red one.
You want the black one which has some oil in it. Some crab. Thank you very much. Small fish, koni, the flache. You know, but enjoy few. They won't give you. They say, "Oh, hey, kenamni, hotel na habo." You know. So I believe it. So going through all these struggles and getting that opportunity, I felt that let me do something
meaningful,
out of the ordinary, so that the people one day, when another young person wants to be an MP, they will say, no, Alex, obe no to me ye, use a chance. So that has been it. It's been one struggle after the other, and I've done quite a number of projects in the constituency, and I felt that children often get referred to Kolebu for medical attention. We don't have a well-resourced pediatric center in Winneba, Central Region. So I said, look, then let's have a pediatric center, which would even be a secondary facility, state-of-the-art technology. So I engaged the experts, the Ghana Health Services experts were there to support, and we approached the Jane Jansi chiefs, and then they give the land. So it's a dream come true. I mean, tomorrow, if I'm not an MP again, there's a 10 key project that the people should remember me for.
Right. Okay.
And that's about it.
Right. Brilliant. Thanks very much. There's a lot to go through, unfortunately, and I know you're bound by some time constraints as well. Honourable, let's talk about revocation of appointments. It's something that you've been a bit concerned about. Why is it your business at all? And what are the concerns you think need to be addressed?
Well, thank you, sir. I think that the political class must rethink. I'm not just talking about NDC, but I'm talking about the whole political class, NPP, NDC. For now, these are the two known political parties. So when I say political class, us. You see, the way we manage power is quite unfortunate. We are all to blame. I'm not going to, limit myself to what is happening today. When Kufuor won in 2000, when Mills won in 2008, all the way through 2016, then 2024. But it's also because of the way our countrymen and women behave when there's a change of power. Let me share with you my own experience. I regret it. I've apologized for it. I'm not proud of it. And I pray that these things end. I recall in 2016 when we won, came into 2017, lecturers at UUW were all over in my office. Honorable, there is corruption. The microphone would this, that. We're all over the place in court. It went to Yoko. Eventually, when Yoko did the investigation, the people were not even culpable. Then the very things that those people were complaining were the things that they themselves were doing. Eventually, finding that to be so unfortunate, I led the same process again to get those people back into office. When there's a change in government, you have people who they claim that, they are NPP. Then all of a sudden, they say they are NDC. You know, because of the role I played in government, I was in the heart of it. I was really at the Sanctum Sanctorum of the governance process. So I came into contact with quite a number of people. I've been hearing appointments. So yesterday, for instance, one appointment I had, I said, hey, we are seeing who? When did this person become an NDC? Because I know the conversations that the person was having with me, how he was talking about the UP tradition and all. I know Akufo-Addo appointees who are all over the place, trying to now say that, they are, as for them, they are professionals, so they should keep them. It's unfortunate. And it goes down to others who claim that they have information, the gossips. Some of our people can be very mean. So they now say, I know this about this person. This person did that. And it can cause the state to be running all over, going into deep ocean fishing. But I want to tell my friends in NDC that, look, you have won. You have a promise to fulfill. Stay focused and do your work. Look, all these things, people getting you, arrest this person, go and chase this person, somebody has stolen money. 3 months, 6 months, you realize that people have misled you. And in the end, you would have achieved nothing. And then even the goodwill you have, you would have wished them away. On the recruitment, look at all that Prez Mahama himself said when he was in opposition about recruitment and all. I know that President Akufo-Addo even graduated quite a number of these recruits. He officiated the parades and all that. Immigration Service, police, to check the records. There were recruitment that were done after 2016 elections during the transitional period. A lot of the state institutions were recruited. Yes, it is true that Osafo Mafu raised that issue at his vetting. But the truth of the matter is that these mass dismissals never took place. But I must also be honest in saying that there were 1 or 2 appointments that were revoked. I can't pretend about it. But the question is, even if there was mass dismissal when Nana Yaa took office in 2017, must we continue? Should that cycle continue? That is, if it even did happen. We are a country that we all say that governance is a continuum. And if it is so, we must rise above that. After all, there is recruitment. The recruitment is to create employment for Ghanaians. If you come in and you see that, it's your political opponent, sack him. He goes to sit at home. The person has a family and all that. In case that, there was some irregularity, the law allows you to rectify or do ratification. If you want to create new jobs, you can create new jobs under this 133 24-hour policy. Now, my other curiosity on this whole exercise is founded on these state institutions that are limited liability companies that do not draw funds from the states by way of subvention to pay. They are profit making. They generate their own revenue. They are limited liability companies with its own board of directors. Their employment have no effect on the fiscal, position of the state. So why are they also sacking people?
Honorable, you know why. It's going to be the same thing that they were appointed by somebody, and prior to that, people who were there were sacked
I'm
as
saying
well.
that our friends should know that this power is like an ice block placed on your tongue. As soon as it gets there, it starts to melt. The goodwill from day one. If elections were to be held today, trust me, NDC will not get the number of seats it has in parliament. President Mahama will not get the votes he had in 2017. Why, in 2024? Why? Because you have power. And from day one, somebody, even within your party, may not be happy with appointment, decisions taken. So that's where the apathy starts. The apathy starts from within, and it's from day one. So we have to be mindful. I'm not here to advise them, but I'm here to remind them that they have a responsibility to the Ghanaian people and live by it.
You also have to respect that they can make their own decisions, that they are competent to make their own decisions. So if they think that these are the decisions that they should make for the betterment, I don't know, of Ghana or for the
but how on earth in this country where we complain of unemployment, then you say that you are sacking people? For me, it doesn't add up. Whatever way you want to say it, it doesn't add up.
There was a notice that was put before they came into power during the transition period. They said we're going to revoke those appointments, and so the notice was served.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, that it's a bad governance practice to say that a person who has been employed should be denied those rights, especially when a contract has been signed, the man has started work, he's being paid, and then you write him a letter that go home. For me, it doesn't add up, and it's something that we should have a second look.
In the wake of that, you wrote to the president asking him to halt the mass dismissal, as you like to put it. Have you heard from the president since?
No, I've not received any response yet.
But what are you picking up in terms of the letter you sent? Has he received it?
Oh, it's been delivered. I mean, we have records book, it's been delivered. But I've not received any response yet. But we'll continue to make our case. Yesterday, for instance, look at what happened, arresting former appointees. Do we still keep people at the NIB cells, or do we still use National Investigation Bureau to be arresting politicians? I thought they were things of the past. But as a country, is NDC going to be busy with using NIB to be arresting people? If you are investigating somebody for corruption, I thought by law we set up the Special Prosecutor's Office to deal with these things. Are we still using BNI or NIB cells and all to terrorize people? They cannot be invited. There can't be a humane way of investigating such matters, that you go with 3 cars and armed soldiers or police or investigators, Rambo style. I thought as a country we've moved past that, and I would want to encourage the government to adopt a humane way to deal with these things. I am not, and in fact the minority is not against accountability. Accountability is part of the governance process. You come into public life, you must account. You come into public life, you must be held to account. You must answer questions about your stewardship. There's no problem. If the government is of the view that a former appointee should come and give explanation or bring clarity to certain matters, it is part of democracy. But how this is done is the issue. So I would encourage them that since they know that they will not be in government forever, and a time will come that another person may take over the reins of government. And in governance, you take decisions by the day. The biggest job of government is procurement. Because to roll out your policy, you need to procure. To implement any government policy means spending. And we have enacted a law to guide the process. So definitely, in the process, there may be some form of irregularity. There may be some missteps. So in dealing with these, you need to move with a certain level of caution. And in doing so also, we have to be careful not to antagonize the business community. Look, more Ghanaians are anxious in doing business with government than foreigners. In all the, monitor some of the attacks against some businessmen will be Ghanaian businessmen, not a foreign businessman. Why? Because these foreigners, their embassies are protecting them. You, the government, would even be scared going after an Israeli company, an American company, a British company, even where you feel that there was some irregularity in a contract awarded to them. But you realize that government would always be in a hurry to attack a Ghanaian businessman. And that is what, I'm picking. In the end, these Ghanaian businessmen lose the opportunity to run their business, and it affects the job market. Can we have a humane way of dealing with all issues of irregularity as we find them, even when we get opportunity to govern? And I repeat, that does not mean that we should do away with accountability.
You're saying humane, and you've harped on that a few times. What humane way do you think can be adopted to deal with
due process of law? Due process of law. When I talk about humane way, I'm referring to that which we've enshrined in our laws. I'm referring to those promises that our constitution hold dear, and those promises that our constitution makes, and all.
Right, Honorable, we have to revert to the chamber and of course to Parliament, because that is where you do most of your work. We want to talk about the appointment committee because it faced some disturbances and subsequent probe into their issues. Is the NPP still participating in the probe sitting?
Yes, we've never boycotted proceedings. Our posture in this Parliament is, as much as possible, stay in and raise our concerns and raise our issues, not to be walking out on the least provocation, unless there's a real need to, as it were, stay away. We would, as much as possible, stay in and raise questions. When people complain about how we are vetting, I refer them to precedents. I don't understand why our friends do not want us to ask them questions. But I believe that after that unfortunate incident, we've sat down and we've had a lot of discussions. And from the assurances given, I pray that this week's vetting will be smooth. The minority leader and his group must have the opportunity to ask their questions as agreed at the pre-sitting meeting. Those coming must also come prepared. You can't come and say you are a media shy person and then you want to be in the public space. No. You have your CV. You should make sure that you have a grooming session where you've gone through your CV, you've prepared yourself on policy issues, things that you yourself you've said in the public space, your own experience in life. These are questions that you'll be asked. And once you prepare yourself, you distinguish yourself because, you come in with that constitutional qualification. So once you pass that, which is the basis for your nomination, the rest is how you carry yourself at the ministry. And these are things that we need to ask so that the public will be assured that, this person who is going to be a deputy minister or minister of state at a particular ministry has what it takes to do the work. And we do this without any ill will. I mean, it's my work. I have to do it. It's the work of the minority, because if you leave it to the majority, because they are in the same party, it's going to be congratulations, bye-bye.
You feel it's a rubber stamp if you leave it to the majority?
Well, the real vetting is done by the minority. I was watching, Senate hearings in the US. It's very rigorous, rigorous, pound for pound, engagement. We are complaining here. What they are doing, we're not even doing a quarter. Okay, but again, I want to assure our fellow Ghanaians that we in the minority mean well. We would do what is right and hold the government's feet to the fire.
All right, so moving on, sir. I know you have limited time, and good luck going forward with the vetting this week. Minority, you got the issue with the MP for Kwakye. Where do we stand after the Koforidua High Court ruling? Where do you stand as a minority?
So, we hold a view that the judge acted in excess of his powers, misdirected himself in so many ways. But, we are a party of rule of law. If you talk about UP, that's our tradition, rule of law, due process. So we will not go attacking the person of the judge. We will not attack him. We are using due process to deal with the situation. But fundamentally, I need you to know that the law talks about gazetting of the result, and a person who is aggrieved to file a petition within 21 days after gazette. At the time the opponent of NSCOMNI filed, the result had not been gazetted. Yet the judge said that, he's taking judicial notice of a press conference. I mean, straight away, he was forcing his way to get jurisdiction. At the time he took that decision to hear the application, there were two things on his docket before him. One, that there was an application by NSCOMNI's lawyers staying proceedings, and any practitioner of the law will tell you that once you have an application staying proceedings, any judge who knows his law would first hear that application before going into the substantive matter. But this is a situation where the judge was aware the matter was before him, yet he decided to hear the application, committing our brother for contempt.
Honorable, any person, any lawyer knowing the law, are you telling me the judge doesn't know the law?
I have said that, quite unfortunately, he's misdirected himself. Again, the judge was aware that a certiorari application and a prohibition application had been served on him through the registrar. And the nature of the issues being raised was such that he should have waited. That notwithstanding, he has already ruled. We have filed a stay of execution on the back of a notice of appeal.
Right.
So once that stay of execution has been filed, it stays his
Further action.
his decision. So that's where we are.
Right.
And I know that Mr. Nimako, his counsel for my colleague, is also praying for a date for hearing. I pray that he is able to get a date this week for the matter to be heard at the Supreme Court on the prohibition and sexual rights.
So, at this moment in time, what, as far as Parliament is concerned, what is the situation?
Well, he comes to Parliament. I think what our colleagues did was the usual politics on the floor, and I found it very rich, especially they who disregarded a Supreme Court decision, now talking about rule of law. I saw it as one of those tactics to frustrate the man. But of course, I later told the majority leader that the man had filed a stay of execution and appealed the decision. So he is within his right to come to Parliament to do his parliamentary work. He won by over 2,000 votes. I don't see why the other gentleman is still pursuing this matter, but it's within his rights. Let's follow the law and let's see how it goes. But again and again, our colleagues should learn something from our posture. Not to insult judges, not to be out there attacking judges because they disagree. We disagree with the judge, but we've not gone out there to attack the judge.
Right, attacking judges brings me to what Jerry said, the second deputy chief whip. He said that if the police want to arrest him, he's in Parliament, the police could come and arrest him because the courts then had issued a bench warrant. Do you think that the comment was fair by Jerry to say that the police can walk into the chambers of Parliament and pick up Kumi?
Well, I think he was just making a very simple point, that the man has not run away. He comes to work, he drives to work, and in fact, sometimes we need to put things in proper context. When a judge makes a pronouncement in court, that pronouncement is not enough. An order would have to be drawn. And when that order is drawn, and let me explain in ordinary language, that when a judge makes a decision, it has to be written. And when that is written, we call it an order. So that order, the registrar would have to sign, and it is brought to the judge to also sign. So you realize that on any order of a court, it has two signatories, the registrar and the judge, and it is dated. Then the next step is for the registrar to cause service to be effected. And once it is effected, you have to yield obedience. So, question is, has the order been drawn? If the order has been drawn, has it been served? If it's been served, is there any other process that the affected party has affected? Has affected? Yes. In this case, even before Mr. Kumi receiving a court process, i.e. the order of the court, he has appealed the decision. And that day, he had respectfully written to the court that he could not come to court because of parliamentary engagement and prayed for another date as convenient to the court. The court disregarded it. The court disregarded it. So I feel that as much as possible, our courts must also be guided in a manner that the public or parties in the matter in a cause will not see them as being biased. They say the mills of justice may grind slowly, but with surety, it will get to a destination. The judge should ask himself, the Koforia hardcore judge must really introspect and ask himself whether the petition that was brought before him was brought at the time that a gazette had been filed, and had he confirmed it, was his jurisdiction properly invoked? At what point can his jurisdiction be invoked? Is it just after declaration? We are aware that all the judges had training on how to handle election petitions. Is he going by the training manual? These are questions that I believe that the judge should introspect and ask himself a lot of questions, how he went about it. But let's patiently wait for the same law to take its course.
Now, some judge criticized you that you were unable to mobilize your base for a secret ballot when the time came to it. Chairman for the appointment committee, Richard Ahiaf, also said you're expressing so much pressure from the party. As a minority leader in your role, are you under increased pressure from your party?
So I don't want to spend this morning responding to political statements. I mean, in this game of politics, expect things to be said. You don't have to respond to everything, else you become very petty and people may not take you serious. So I've heard them.
But you have the pressure as your role as minority leader in parliament.
Well, there's an expectation that you will have to lead a group to succeed. Do you call it pressure? Every public officer has a certain responsibility. You need to meet certain targets. Should we call it pressure? I don't think so. I think that is the demands of the job. Was I expecting it? Yes. Was I expecting to be attacked all over? Yes. Do I expect people to even scrutinize my own work? Yes. Am I likely to make mistakes? Yes. Am I to take those mistakes on board and do better? Yes. So it's a job that you do, you learn, you move on. Where you would have to be hawkish, you have to be. Where you have to act like a dove, you have to be. It's all about strategy. Look at the situation and lead. You are providing leadership. So you are confronted with all manner of things. I think that some George himself did not do himself any good. And I say so because, proud to his verdict, he had an opportunity to engage me. And we had a lot of discussion. I said, look, Sam, we don't have a problem with you. But we think, as a caucus, that you made certain pronouncements that were not acceptable. Describing Nana Akufo-Addo in some unprintable words, describing the Chief Justice in a manner unbecoming of an MP. We believe that you could have still criticized them, could have still criticized Akufo-Addo's administration, criticized the Chief Justice in a more measured language. I made that known to him, and I made a demand from him that, look, I believe that if you could retract these, pull back and apologize, I will have no problem. For him, he felt that, look, I've said it and I won't change my position. And I think that was the source of the misunderstanding. But we've moved past that. He is a minister of state. My job is to scrutinize his work, and it's a job that the minority would have to do. It's not personal.
But you said you've washed your hands off him. What does that mean exactly?
Oh, where it was a parliamentary action to say that we are not part of he and Ablako's approval process. And remember, Mr. Ajumako Bua did the right thing by retracting and apologizing for certain words he used against President Akufo-Addo. And we agreed to take his report by consensus. So it's their political decision. Look, per my upbringing, for all I've come to know in life, I've learned that where I know I'm wrong, I should say sorry. It doesn't matter how many times I have to say it, because this is who I am. Somebody else may have his different approach, but I don't care how embarrassed I would feel. Once I realize that I'm wrong, I should eat a humble pie and say sorry and move on. This is me. I can't get it all perfect, but there are others who may also have a problem having to say that I'm sorry, especially when they think that, oh, I took this strong position, why a U-turn? But this is life. Sometimes there is more honor in letting the public know that, look, this was my decision of yesterday and I regret it. Take the initial bashing, but in the long term, people will respect you. And I have that posture in public life. I can decide for others.
Right. Okay, just before we let you go, we were looking forward to seeing a slightly larger convoy when you came to the office. So
it's
a
all
bit disappointing.
I get your sarcasm. You know, I think over the weekend, my friend Afia, the majority chief whip, you know, insinuated on national television, TV3, and I had to phone in to correct that unfortunate impression. He said I move in a convoy of 50. But even the president cannot have a convoy of 50. You know, these are some of the exaggerations that people put out there to incite the public against you. Look, when you are a public officer, your security is assessed by the state. Bear in mind, when I was majority leader, I was also a deputy speaker of ECOWAS Parliament. And my security was in the hands of the state. So whatever determination the state made by way of the position I held, that was the arrangement. The state does it for all public officers. You recall that until the unfortunate incident of JB Dankwa Edu, no MP had a bodyguard. No MP had a bodyguard in his house. But as a result of that situation, now the state decided that every MP should be given a bodyguard. Prior to that, it was only ministers of state who had it. Even now, there are MPs who are even first-timers who, because of the security situation around them, have enhanced security because of the assessment done. I felt that it was most unfortunate for the Afia to go on TV to be insinuating and be talking the way he spoke. But he retracted and apologized. So once he apologized, we leave it there. But I want to tell my friends in the NDC and their communicators that They should stop getting busy on Afenyo Markin, digging me here, digging me there. They'll be wasting their time. Look, the job of the opposition leader is to oppose. The job of government is to implement its promises, implement policies, and do government job. If, as a government, all you do is to waste your time attacking the minority leader and the minority, very soon, people will now asking you that, and you will not have any answer because you have talked about 24-hour economy. And yet, when you go on radio or on TV, all you do is be attacking Afenyo Markin when Afenyo Markin is on his feet. Instead of you to listen to him, take notes so that you also argue in rebuttal. All you do is to shout, make noise, and rather be disruptive. The people will be watching. So I think that we can do it decently by engaging in a decent conversation. We are not the same. I am of a different political ideology. You have a different political ideology. You are in government, I'm in opposition. You rule the country, I scrutinize and and do the oversight. When I do the oversight, yours is to push back, mine is to push back, and then the public would judge. So it is not for you to think that by attacking my person, by discrediting me, by breaking me down, or even threatening, I would quarrel. Because I've not just risen into the position. Okay? I've been around. I've been assemblyman, presiding member, MP. This is my 4th term. So to think that, just elbowing me will make me fall.
Is that to say that finally, I know Ojo has to wrap up quickly and you have to go. Is that to say that besides what they've said on TV, there's been some real attacks and other things that we're not aware of?
Well, I think they were flying drones on my property in Winneba and even doing a search and all manner of things. But you see, unfortunately for them, there's one thing, I don't read social media. I'm not the person always going all over the place. I'm focused. I know this job is not an easy job. I know what the NDC is made of. Attack. So I've sided myself. It's prayer, the power of my rosary, my faith as a Christian, as a Catholic. I've seen what God can do. I've experienced God. And I believe that in all these difficulties and dangers, He, the Almighty God, will see me through. And that is my source of strength. I can't be afraid of what they want to do by day or by night. God will see me through. We'll continue to pray. We'll continue to recite our rosary. We'll continue to fast. We'll continue to remain focused. And also pray that the party will be united. For me, that is my single most important concern. The unity of our party. That we don't have to be individualistic, but be acting collective. Let things go. Forget about yesterday. All the pain in people, the disappointment, and all. Let's leave it behind us and stay together and bring the party back to power. For me, that's the ultimate goal, and that is my prayer.
Amen. On that note, we'll say thank you so much for being part of the program today, and thank you for your insights. Look forward to seeing you vetting and on the floor again in the next few weeks and months to come, and also to being able to discuss with you other issues as and when they come up on the Saturday Breakfast Show. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Let me also take this opportunity to commend the Asase platform for what you are doing for democracy, for free speech, and ultimately what you're doing for the UP tradition, the MPP. I mean, now it's your platform, the Wuntumi platform, the Oman, and the two, and few others that are really helping activate our base. Don't also be discouraged. You are doing a great job. Continue to use your platform to promote democracy and the party's ideology, and help us to stay united. I'm sure, God willing, fortune will smile at us come 2028. There are a lot of things that I'm sure went wrong. We wait for the Professor Okoye report, which will come, and I pray that internally we'll deal with it without leaking it, deal with it in-house, just as the NDC handled the Professor Kwesi Botwe report, saw it as an opportunity to really do an introspection, and we would also embrace the Okoye report and see it as an opportunity to rebrand and act collective. I pray we get there. I'm very optimistic, and let me also commend the mighty few, the minority. We have some sharpshooters in Parliament. Our new MPs are doing all well, doing very, very well. Let me commend them for their industry, as well as our continuing MPs who are mentoring the young ones. They are doing so well, and I want to encourage them that if the JH Mensa group did it, then we can also do it. So let's be encouraged and let's be inspired by the JH Mensa group of 1997. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable Afenyo Markin is the MP for Ifutu constituency and minority leader in Parliament.